You hear it everywhere, right? AI is changing, well, everything. That a revolution is already here. But what's really going on behind all that hype, especially for the small and medium-sized businesses that are, the backbone of the economy? In this explainer, we're going to dig into the real data and separate the facts from the fiction.
So the story we're often told is of this giant AI tidal wave, just washing over the entire business world. A revolution that's supposedly happening overnight, transforming every single company in its path. But is that the whole picture? Is it really a total takeover, happening right here, right now?
At first glance, the numbers seem to say yes. A recent survey of over 2,100 businesses found that a massive 2/3 are already using AI. You might think, okay, case closed, the hype is real. Well, hold on. That number is hiding a pretty fascinating secret about how they're actually using it.
And this phrase just nails it. While 2/3 of businesses are dipping their toes in the AI water, only a tiny 7% are actually swimming. For the huge majority, AI is just a little experiment on the sidelines, not a core part of their game plan.
So that begs the question, right? Who are these pioneers? What do the companies that are really getting into AI have in common? Let's build a quick profile.
First up, size. And this makes sense. Bigger companies have more resources to play with, and you can see that in the data. Adoption just climbs and climbs with company size, hitting 85% for the largest firms. But, and this is important, look over on the left. Even the smallest businesses are over 60%. So this is definitely not just a big company game.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, the industry breakdown. The knowledge-based sectors are just miles ahead. See that top bar? Information and communication is at a staggering 92% adoption. Now compare that to more physical industries like transport or construction. They're lagging way, way behind.
And you see that exact same trend when you look at a map. The darkest blue here shows where adoption is highest, and it's all clustered around the major cities. It makes perfect sense, right? That's where all the big tech firms and knowledge-heavy businesses are concentrated.
So when you put all this together, the profile of an AI adopter is pretty clear. It's not just about their size or their industry. These are just fundamentally stronger businesses. They've got more capital, higher revenue, and get this, they were already 8% more productive before this recent AI boom even started.
Okay, so we know who is using AI, but what are they actually doing with it? This is where we really start to bust some of the biggest myths out there.
When we hear AI in business, our minds immediately jump to all the futuristic stuff, don't they? We're thinking autonomous robots running warehouses or complex algorithms that can predict stock market crashes. But is that what's actually happening on the ground? The reality is a lot more practical. The #1 runaway use case for AI in these businesses is text generation. That's right. The chart shows a full 70% are using it for things like writing emails, translating documents, and other admin work. And it's all thanks to how easy it is to access tools like ChatGPT.
And that tells you everything you need to know about their motivation. When leaders were asked why they use AI, 61% gave the same answer: to improve productivity and services. Creating brand new products was way down the list. So the goal right now isn't transformation, it's optimization. It's just about making the work they already do faster and better.
So, if the tools are accessible and the goal is simply to be more productive, what's stopping that inch-deep adoption from going deeper? Well, the answer might not be what you think.
Forget about expensive servers or writing complex code. The research is crystal clear. The most significant roadblocks to getting real value from AI are human ones.
Now, this slide shows a really fascinating gap. Leaders believe their employees are eager and motivated to use AI. 60% agree with that. But then you ask them if their employees have the actual competence to use it effectively. Whoa, that number just plummets to 22%. There's a huge disconnect between the will and the skill.
And here is the proof. When asked to name the biggest barriers, the #1 answer from nearly 3/4 of business leaders is a lack of employee skills. And what's #2? Management's own limited understanding of AI. So this skills gap, it exists at every single level of the company.
So, given this whole landscape, broad but shallow adoption, driven by productivity, but blocked by a human skills gap, what does the future hold? Where do we go from here?
Now this is genuinely surprising. You might think businesses would fight against new rules and regulations, but it's the opposite. A clear majority, 63%, are actually positive about external regulation. They want clear rules of the road to reduce uncertainty and help them navigate this new territory. So,
The reality of AI in business today is really a story of contrasts. Adoption is broad, but it's shallow. It's being led by the biggest and strongest firms, but it's being used for the most practical, everyday tasks. And the biggest barrier isn't the technology itself. It's us.
And that leaves us with a final crucial thought. We've moved past the point of asking if companies will adopt AI. The real question now is about the quality of that adoption. How do we close this skills gap to move from inch-deep to truly transformative use? And as some companies get it right and surge ahead, what happens to the ones who don't?